My daughter's hands trembled as she pulled the crumpled tissue paper from the gift box. And then she froze, like time itself stopped around her. Her voice barely broke through the silence as she whispered, "What is this?" I looked inside, and everything came rushing back, years of betrayal, abandonment, and pain I thought I'd buried forever. But this time, they messed with the wrong mother. If you've ever been betrayed by the very people who were supposed to protect you, if you've ever been disrespected, discarded, and then watched those same people crawl back with fake smiles and poisonous gifts, then get ready. This story, it's not just revenge, it's a mother's righteous fury. So hit that like button, subscribe if you love real justice, and buckle up, because this ride gets personal. I wasn't expecting a package from them. In fact, I hadn't heard from my parents in almost 4 years. Not since the day they slammed the door on me and on my then 7-year-old daughter, for good. So when I saw the box sitting on our porch, no return address, just a name scrawled on the shipping label in my mother's unmistakable, tight cursive, I felt something curl in my gut. Not quite fear, not quite rage, a kind of warning. But my daughter, Lila, now 11, was already curious. "It's from Grandma and Grandpa?" she asked, her voice light, unsure. She never really understood why we didn't see them anymore. She had bits and pieces, but I always protected her from the worst of it. I told her they were complicated. But now, they had just kicked that door wide open again. To understand why this package was so terrifying, you have to understand where we came from. My parents were image-obsessed control freaks. If something didn't look perfect on the outside, it didn't belong in their world. That included me when I got pregnant at 19, by someone they didn't approve of. They gave me an ultimatum: abort or disappear. And when I refused, they did something I'll never forget. My mom turned to my dad and said, "Then she's made her choice. She's not part of this family anymore." I was cut off, no help, no contact, nothing. They told my younger sister that I was dead to them. When I tried to call once, just to tell them I'd had a healthy baby girl, my mother hung up. That day, something in me hardened. I worked 3 jobs to survive. Waitressing, cleaning homes, night shifts at a gas station. I slept in my car with Lila when we couldn't afford rent. But I made it. I built something, a life. I studied bookkeeping, started freelancing, and eventually opened my own small accounting firm. My daughter never lacked love. She never lacked care. She only lacked family. The kind of grandparents who show up to school plays. The kind of family she watched in cartoons and asked, "Why don't I have those?" It killed me. But I'd rather her have no grandparents than toxic ones. I watched her peel back the tape. My chest was tight. My instinct screamed stop her. But I didn't want to taint her experience, not yet. She was her own person now. I didn't want her to inherit my pain. She lifted the lid slowly, pulled out some pink tissue paper. And then, she froze. "Mum," she whispered, "what is this?" I walked over, looked inside. My blood turned to ice. Inside was a necklace, delicate gold, with a name engraved. Emily. Not Lila. Emily. My sister's daughter. My niece. My heart dropped. Tucked underneath was a crumpled birthday card. It read, "To our beautiful granddaughter, Emily, happy 11th birthday. Love, Grandma and Grandpa." My daughter stared at me. "She's not me," she whispered. And then her face changed. Confusion, pain, realization. They forgot me, didn't they? That moment shattered me. Not because of the mistake, but because I knew it wasn't a mistake. It was a message. They meant to send it. They were reminding me, and my daughter, that we were never family to them. But what they didn't know was, I wasn't the same girl they disowned. I had power now, and I was going to use it. After the necklace, Lila wouldn't talk for hours. She curled up on the couch, knees to her chest, holding her stuffed fox, the one from when she was 5. I made her hot chocolate. Sat beside her. Waited. Eventually, in the quietest voice, she asked, "Did I do something wrong?" My throat closed. I leaned in. "No, baby. They did." She blinked at me. Why would they send her a present and not me? And that's when it hit her. The way kids piece things together too fast, too sharp. This wasn't a mistake, was it? I couldn't lie. I nodded slowly. And in that moment, something in my daughter changed. Not just sadness, clarity. I remembered the time my mother sent Christmas gifts to my sister's kids but forgot Lila. Or when she mailed me a wedding invitation, for my sister, with a note that read, "Family is everything." As if I wasn't. They weren't just cruel. They enjoyed reminding me of what I wasn't allowed to have. They treated my daughter like a ghost. But now they sent a ghost right back into my house, with a bow on top. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept pacing the kitchen floor, sipping cold coffee, mind spinning. I couldn't let this stand. I wasn't that scared girl anymore. And I had something now they never did. Truth. Then, something strange happened. Lila came into the room, holding my phone. "Mom, you follow Aunt Emily's mom, right?" I nodded. My sister, Karen, had a habit of oversharing online, wine, family photos, every brunch. "She posted this just now," Lila said. I took the phone, looked at the post. My stomach dropped. My blood boiled. But then I noticed something. A detail. In the corner of the photo. A man, maybe 40s, business attire, uncomfortable smile. I zoomed in. Recognized the logo on his shirt. Foster & Grimm Accounting, Internal Audit Division. Wait. That name sounded familiar. I opened my work laptop. Pulled up a file I hadn't touched in years. A copy of my parents' trust holdings. And there it was. Foster & Grimm. They handled my father's estate restructuring after his semi-retirement. Oh, this was perfect. Because I knew things. Things even my parents didn't realize I still had access to. Years ago, my father made a mistake. When they disowned me, he forgot to revoke my notification rights on the family trust. It was buried in the third clause of a 10-page document. So technically, any movement inside the trust, any significant transfer or restructure, had to notify me by law. He assumed I'd never care enough to notice. But now, I had a reason. I reached out to an old mentor, a tax consultant named Rachel. We hadn't spoken in years, but she owed me a favor. I sent her the trust file and the screenshot. She messaged back 45 minutes later. "Your dad's been quietly funneling money into a shell account registered to Emily's name. If he's using her as a silent partner under 18, and there's no legal permission from both parents, that's a federal fraud risk." I stared at the message. My hands started to shake, not with fear, with possibility. 1. Expose the favoritism. Make it undeniable. 2. Hit them where it hurts, their image and their money. 3. Let the world see what kind of family they really were. 4. And above all, protect Lila. Let her see justice done. But I needed help, someone inside. And that's when I remembered Emily's old babysitter, Tara. She used to work for my sister before she quit for personal reasons. I found her on Facebook and messaged her, unsure she'd even reply. She responded in 5 minutes. "I always liked you better. Let's talk." Oh yes. It was on. We met at a small diner, off the highway, away from prying eyes. Tara looked older, tired. But when I mentioned my parents, her eyes sharpened. She sipped her coffee and said, "You know they made Emily call you the mistake behind your back." My stomach twisted. They said Lila was your punishment. That she didn't need real family because you were stubborn. My hands clenched under the table. But then she dropped the real bomb. "Your dad used Emily's name to open a side business. Fake. His laundering through it. Karen knows. She thinks it's for Emily's college fund. But he's hiding money from taxes." I nearly dropped my cup. Oh, and he made Karen sign some stuff she didn't read. I think she'd be screwed if it ever went public. I smiled slowly. "Tara, you just gave me the key to burn them down." Tara didn't just talk. She kept receipts. 2 days after our meeting, she sent me 3 voice recordings, Karen complaining about my parents' obsession with Emily, saying I practically have to rent my own daughter back from them. 1 video, my dad drunkenly bragging at a backyard barbecue, saying, "The best part is, Uncle Sam has no idea Emily owns 2 companies. And she's not even 12. Laughter. Clinking glasses. A folder of screenshots from texts where my mom refers to Lila as the stain. I couldn't breathe reading it. I felt this mixture of rage and purpose, molten, sharp. But I stayed calm. Because I was building something now. A collapse. A reckoning. I started a private Reddit account. Chose a carefully crafted username. Posted on our insane parents, our raised by narcissists, and our legal advice with redacted versions of the screenshots and audio clips. The post blew up. I didn't name names, yet, but the story spread like wildfire. Thousands of upvotes. Hundreds of comments. The sympathy was overwhelming, and a few legal-minded users confirmed. If they are naming a minor as a business owner and avoiding taxes, that's serious fraud. Next, I compiled a clean folder, organized, chronological, annotated, and emailed it directly to Karen's husband, a quiet, passive man who worked in government and hated scandal. Foster and Grimm Accounting, the firm handling my father's trust. A well-known financial blog I knew did exposés on family corruption and silent wealth abuse. And finally, I sent an anonymous copy to Karen herself. Subject line: "You might want to know what Dad's been doing with Emily's name." Less than 48 hours later, my phone pinged. A message. From Karen. After 4 years of silence. "Karen, what did you do?" "Me, funny. I was just about to ask you that." "Karen, they are threatening to cut off Emily's trust. You've ruined everything." "Me, no, Karen. They ruined everything the day they decided Lila didn't count." "Karen, she was never supposed to see that gift." "Me. And now the whole internet has seen it instead." Then came the calls. My mom tried to contact me 5 times in one morning. Left voicemails. Voice shaking. "No apologies, only panic. You don't understand what you've done. This could ruin us. You think you're being righteous. You're just jealous." And then, the final nail. "Come to your senses. We can still make this go away. But you have to stop this nonsense." I blocked the number. Meanwhile, Lila was watching it unfold, not the Reddit part, but the silence that followed. No more mysterious gifts. No more lies. One day she came home from school, holding a piece of paper. A family tree assignment. She looked at me and said, "You don't have to," I told her gently. "You can make your own tree. From scratch." And she did. She drew a tree with just me and her. And beside it, she wrote in big block letters. "Chose me. Loved me. Stayed." I broke down crying in the kitchen. The accounting firm dropped my father as a client. A quiet investigation was opened by the IRS. Karen and her husband were under marital strain. I know this because he sent me a message. "Whatever happens, I hope Lila is okay. None of this is her fault. I'm sorry for everything." Then, the coup de grace. They included redacted screenshots and transcripts. My parents' social circle, polished, elite, golf club fake friends, saw every word. My mom deactivated all her social media. My dad resigned from 2 boards. Karen removed every single photo of Emily from her accounts for privacy reasons. It was a Saturday morning. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen window. Lila was still asleep, curled in blankets on the couch after movie night. And then, bang, bang, bang. Someone was at the door. I looked through the peephole. It was my mother. Hair perfect, pearls around her neck, lips thin and trembling. I didn't answer. The banging resumed, sharper now. So I opened the door, just enough. She stood there, holding her purse like it was a shield. "May I come in?" I said nothing. She looked past me, her voice cracking. "I just want to see her." I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. Her eyes scanned me up and down like I was still the teenage girl in her mind. Irresponsible, defiant, disposable. "You're blowing things out of proportion," she started. "I don't know what you think you found, but..." I cut her off. "Calm. Cold. You sent a necklace addressed to the wrong granddaughter. On purpose. You called my daughter a stain. And now you want me to believe it was a mistake." She flinched. "I didn't mean for her to see it. And that makes it okay?" I asked, voice rising. "You tortured me for years. And now you're dragging her into your poisonous game." She tried a new tactic, the one all manipulators use when cornered. "Tase. She's my granddaughter, too." "No," I said, stepping closer. "She's mine. You gave up that title the day you slammed the door on us." She whispered, "But we're family." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You don't get to say that now. You had 11 years to be family. And all you ever did was remind us that we weren't good enough for you." Her voice dropped to a desperate hiss. "You've ruined our reputation. Your sister's marriage is falling apart. Your father's under investigation. Why would you do this to us?" And there it was. Not sorrow. Not remorse. Just panic over being caught. I leaned in and said the words I had waited over a decade to say. "I didn't do this to you. You did this to yourselves." Then I turned my back and closed the door in her face. She stirred on the couch as I returned inside. "Who was it?" she asked sleepily. "No one important," I said, brushing her hair from her face. She sat up, hugging her fox. "Mom." "Yeah, baby. I'm glad it's just us." I nodded, my throat tight. "Me too." Later that week, I got an email. From Karen. Subject: "I messed up. I need to talk." I ignored it. 3 days later, another email. Then a voicemail. She sounded tired. Hello. They used Emily. And they used me. I signed stuff I shouldn't have. And now I think they are going to let me take the fall. I didn't know how deep it went. I thought I was the favorite, but I was just the useful one. Still, I said nothing. Until one evening, my phone lit up again. Karen, if you won't talk to me, please tell Lila I'm sorry. I was too scared to stand up to them. But I never hated her. I just didn't know how to love her properly without them poisoning everything. That one hit different. Because in her voice, for the first time, I heard truth. Not panic. Not spin. Regret. I thought about replying. I even drafted a message. But I never hit send. Not because I hate her. But because peace doesn't always need a reunion. Sometimes, peace is just the absence of more pain. Meanwhile, the online community that had read my story stood by me. Strangers who'd been through narcissistic parents, toxic siblings, silent betrayals, they flooded my inbox with messages like, "You gave me courage. My daughter saw what you did. She asked if we could be stronger too. Thank you for standing up, not just for yourself, but for the little girl inside all of us." And for the first time in years, I felt whole. A few months later, I filed papers to legally change Lila's last name, from my father's surname to mine. She asked why. I smiled and said, "Because you deserve to carry the name of someone who stayed." We celebrated with cupcakes and sparkles and a cake that read, "Welcome to your family, Lila." The toxic family's reputation and image were publicly shattered. The financial fraud was exposed, with potential legal consequences underway. Karen's marriage and loyalty to the parents fractured. The parents were left isolated and powerless. The protagonist reclaims power, not through more destruction, but by walking away stronger. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge isn't screaming or fighting. It's silence. It's distance. It's watching the people who tried to destroy you realize they never had the power they thought they did. And it's raising a daughter who knows her worth, not from what she was given, but from what she overcame. If this story hit home, if it gave you chills or reminded you of your own strength, go ahead and smash that like button. And tell us in the comments, what's the coldest, most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Subscribe for more true stories of justice, power, and redemption, because here, we believe in earned revenge.